Okay, so another video on the F-150 Lightning. Let's talk about charging. So currently, what you can see is it's plugged in with the standard AC 110 volt adapter that it comes with. Now I've tested this on 2 different nights, calculated the range. First night I got 2.3 miles per hour that it was charged, that was plugged in and charging. Second night I got 2.1 miles per hour that it was plugged in and charging. So not great, but as we discussed before, that's our backup. That's the emergency backup. After this weekend, that'll just stay in the frunk for emergencies. So the plan is to install the Ford Pro charger, which came with the truck and just arrived today. We've had the truck for a week, 1 week exactly. And today we received this beauty, shipped from California yesterday from Sunrun. So when you buy the truck, even though Sunrun is not in our area, in the Myrtle Beach area, Sunrun still ships the chargers out. Sunrun sent me 4 different messages on 4 different emails on 4 consecutive days asking me to verify my shipping address, which I did 4 days in a row. And then I called them to make sure they had it, and it was not updated in their system. Representative at Sunrun I spoke to, very nice. She went in, updated it. It shipped later that day, because that was yesterday morning I talked to her. It shipped that afternoon. So there it is, it has arrived. So where are we gonna put this thing? So let's take a brief tour of the garage here. There's the panel. So the panel will have a dedicated 100 amp switch installed in there. The electrician is coming tomorrow night. So I believe the plan is he's gonna run it out of that, go down the wall, run conduit down the wall behind this workbench. So we have to pull the workbench out. I'm going to do that probably in a little bit right after I finish the video. So we have some room to work. Punch a hole through that wall, and then we're going to come out here, go around the other side of this wall. That's a common wall that goes into the front of the house. So he's going to punch through that wall and put the charger right in this area right here. So that's the plan. It's waterproof, but it's still going to be under the little porch area here, protected from the rain somewhat, mostly. And then we have 17 feet of cable, is my understanding. So we'll be able to come right out, plug it in. If the truck is parked in this spot, or even if I park the truck in the other spot on the other side of where it is now, I think we'll still have plenty of cable to do that with it being loose and not being pulled tight. So that's the plan. Hopefully tomorrow night we'll have it installed. And as he's doing that, I'll create a video. We'll tag that right on to the next scene you see on here. And then when the whole thing's done, we'll go ahead and upload this. So that's it. Thanks for watching. It's a good time to hit like and subscribe, by the way. We'll see you in a minute. All right, so we're back. It's Friday afternoon. Guys are here doing the electrical work, putting it in. So hopefully in a little bit, we'll get to see the finished version and plug it in and see what a difference it makes over the 110 version. So there it is. There's the inside of the Ford Charge Station Pro. This is where it's gonna go. We're having a good time. Can't wait.
Can't maneuver. Yep.
All right, so the electricians put in our Ford Charge Station Pro. Pretty much done. The problem is the front piece comes right up. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 snaps in here. One of them is broken off. You can see where they snap in. But we've done this, we've been playing with this for 20 minutes trying to get this thing to snap on here tight. And it won't. As soon as you take this, maybe we could see this from the side, and plug it in here. See how that pops away from the body? So we're going to be calling Sunrun in a little bit. But let's power this puppy up and see if it charges the car, the truck. All right, here we go. First charge. Let's see how we do. Got to pop the door open. Stand by for action. All right, so we go in here. Down for a second. Pull this down. See if we have any change in the lights when we plug it in. Get it lined up with one hand here. All right, so it's talking to the truck because the lights are lit up. We went from all white to a solid blue and another blinking blue. Let's see, where are my keys? I gotta get my keys. That could be a question, right? Where are the keys? So we'll come back out here again. You can see we do have the blinking blue light telling us we have power. This will be somewhat satisfying. Everybody likes to take the plastic off. 17 feet of cable. We got a storm coming in here in Myrtle Beach. Sorry for the wind. Let's see what we have going on in here. Little kiss on the radio. All right, it says charging 100% at 6:49. Oh, my door just blew open. 6:49 a.m. Saturday. So whatever rate it's at, it says we'll be charged. And we're back. Sorry, I was in the car, and when it connected to Bluetooth to the truck, it cut the camera off. So currently we're starting at 22% of battery, 66 miles of range. It says we'll be done charging to 100% at 6:49 a.m. tomorrow morning. Looks like we're off and flying. Let's see here. And I think that's probably pretty much about it. Ford Charge Station Pro, 80 amp, installed on the outside of our garage. Hold on, why are we out of focus? There we go. Comes around here. And there it is by the front door. I would have liked it really on the other side of the garage, but probably would have been about an extra $1,500 worth of cable and time to get it there. So here we are, we're by the front door. But that's okay. So thanks for watching. Please click like, please click subscribe. Maybe I'll do another little bit in the morning and tag it on the end of here before I upload this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great night. All right, we're back after the second hour of charging. So in the second hour, we are at a total of 48 miles of charge added. And in the first hour, we had 27. So 48 minus 27 miles equals we've added 21 miles in the second hour. And we're back to this yellow light fault. So we've had the fault a couple times in the second hour, and then it goes into this for a few minutes, and then it clicks back on. So I think that might be why, I'm not sure, but I think that might be why we haven't charged as much in the second hour. The first hour we did 27 miles, the second hour we did 21 miles. Something to investigate. So there it is. Now it's back to normal charging. see where we are in the morning in a few hours. All right, so I read the book through a little bit more, and it says to use copper wire. And I believe when he installed this, when the guys installed it today, that they used aluminum wire. I don't know if that's what's making a difference, but it does keep faulting out. So I'm going to unplug it for the night. Push the button. And ask them to come check it tomorrow. Or as soon as they can. So I guess that's it for tonight. Let's close up shop. Just kind of a cool shot. And have a great night. Okay, we think the problem is that the incorrect wire was used, that aluminum wire was used and not the copper wire. So it charges for about 20 minutes and then it shuts off. I'm guessing cools down. A few minutes later, it starts back up. So in the interim, I've turned off the breaker. We're going to turn down the maximum current setting. You see currently it's set on, I don't know if that's in focus, 7, which is maximum amperage. We're going to turn it down to 5, which I think will get us, I believe, to 48 amps instead of the maximum 80. So we'll do that, see how that works for now until we can run new wire. Well, good morning. It's Sunday, July 10th, 2022. I have a few more updates on the Ford Pro Charger. So as we talked about in the last section, we had this installed and the electricians used aluminum wire instead of copper wire. It mentions in the book looks like this, to use copper wire. But they used aluminum wire, and what happened was we were getting faults. After it would charge for 15 or 20 minutes, I'd get an amber light. The blue light on here, blue light would go away and I just get an amber light. Oh, sorry, blue light would go away, get an amber light right there. And my theory is, I'm not an electrician, but my theory is the wire was getting too hot because the wire also has to be rated for 90 degrees Celsius. So the wire was getting too hot and then it would click off. Then when it cooled down a little bit, the charger would click back and we'd start charging again. And it would cycle through that, well, until I turned it off at that point. So what I did, looking in the book, while we're waiting for the copper wire you should have in the next couple days, took the decorative case off the front, which is the off-whitish piece that says Ford. Under that, there's another front that has several screws. First, I turned off the power at the breaker. Then I unscrewed that, took that out, and found this adjustment. This again is in the manual. So you can change the maximum amount of output using this. So it was set on 7. 7 gives us 80 amps. So I changed it and I turned that down to 5. So 5 gives us 48 amps. Put it back together, turned it on, plugged it in, and it worked. Charged it for about the last 10 hours. As far as I'm aware, I didn't have any faults. And the vehicle charged up. So let's talk about what we did. So it is now fully charged up to 321 miles of range at 100%. To get there, at 48 amps set on 5, it took 9 hours and 48 minutes. So just under 10 hours. That got us a total gain from where we were, because we were not at 0. That got us a total gain of 213 miles, 87 kilowatt hours. So I averaged that down, I did the math, and that comes out to, for every hour it was plugged in and charging on the Ford Pro Charge Station Pro, set at 5 at 48 amps, that averages 21.8 miles of charge for every hour that it was plugged in. Now that's okay. That's much better than the 2.1 or 2.3 miles of charge we were getting off the 110. So it's still 10 times faster than that. But we're gonna get the copper wire changed out this week and then see what we do. So I think I'm probably gonna hold on to this video and just complete it all as one thing and upload it all at once instead of stopping it now. So that's it. We'll see you in a little bit. We'll take advantage of the rain here for just a minute to talk about the placement of where we put the Ford Charge Station Pro. Now I know you can put it outside. It's weather rated, waterproof, but I chose to put it on this side of the house, keep it out of the weather a little bit more, keep it protected from the rain. It's been pouring here for a little bit, nice little storm. And you can kind of see where the water comes down right about here, from outside. And this is just about another, about 18 inches in out of the water. I don't think it's been touched. I don't think it has a drop on it. And even though, like I said, I know it's rated to be out in the weather and be waterproof, I just think it feels a little better having it right here, a little more protected. So that's where we chose to put it. It was also a lot cheaper putting it on this side of that garage than if we would have put it on the other side of the garage. A lot less labor and wire to run where it is currently. Okay, we're back. So remember yesterday we were having problems with the aluminum wire that the electrician installed because they didn't put in the copper, they put in aluminum. And we think that the temperature rating wasn't high enough because the temperature rating is supposed to be 90 degrees Celsius, copper wire. So that wasn't used, so they're going to order new wire. It's going to take a few days to come in. In the interim, what I did is I went into here, I'm going to show you that, take off the decorative cover, take off the outside cover, and we changed the maximum output power from the setting of 7, which is 80 amps, and I turned it down to 5, which is 48 amps. That allowed it to charge. We charged at just over 21 miles per every hour that it was plugged in. So I spoke to the electrician again this afternoon. He's ordered the copper wire. It's going to take a few days to come in. He said, well, let's see what it does if we put it on 6. So let's try that. So 6 should give us 64 amps. So you can see there's no lights on it. There's no power to it. I've already gone in the house and turned off the breaker. So we are going to take this out, set that down, take off the decorative cover. And this is, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these kind of Torx star bit. I'm going to take those out. Just screwdriver in my pocket. Let's take these out here real quick. Can't see it. This is thrilling video, isn't it, folks? We got 9 of these. Also in here is a sticker with your station ID and your password. Okay, so here we are. Power's off. Little tiny adjustment right here. So little tiny screwdriver. So I'm just going to take this. You can see it has a little arrow right there between the 5 and the 6 a little. So I'm just going to tap it up to 6. There we go. It's a little too much. Back it down. Okay. So there we are. We're on 6. So that should give us 64 amps. So now I'm going to put it back together. We're going to cut the video off in just a second. I'll put it back together, plug it in, and in about an hour or so, I'll show you how we did. All right, so we're back. Our last experiment failed. We well, sort of failed. So let's remember, we start at 7 at 80 amps. We had turned it down to 5 a couple days ago because the wire was incorrect, and that was charging at 48 amps. Today we tried to turn it up to 6, which is 64 amps. I was going to let it charge for 1 hour and see how we did. So up to minute 59, everything was perfect. It charged 30 miles for that 59 minutes it was plugged in, and then it gave me an amber light fault. It doesn't trip the breaker. It just internally goes in fault status for a couple minutes, and then it was about to click back on and start charging the truck again. But I went in at that point. I unplugged the truck and went in and turned the breaker off at that point. So now we've tested a couple different settings. Let's let the experiment continue. So I'm going to turn it on. I better put my reading glasses on. I can't see what I'm doing. So right now we're back at 5. I'd put it back at 5 a few minutes ago, and then I decided that we would do this. So let's go to 4. 4 is going to be 40 amps. So this is half of the maximum 80 amps. So now it's on 40 amps. I'm going to put it back together, charge it up for another hour. So the saga of experimentation continues with our maximum speed set on 4, which gets us 40 amps. We charged 22 miles in the first hour. So I'm going to let it keep going at that for the next several hours. But I think this video is going to turn into something that it really wasn't intended to. It was intended to show you the installation, kind of where the Charge Station Pro was going to go, and I wanted to just show the charging speed of it. Now we're getting into this, showing the speeds with the different settings, and then after the copper wire gets installed, we'll have to redo at least the top speed, the 80 amp, and compare that to what we got on the aluminum wire when we started, when we had a few faults. If I remember correctly, because I don't have my scratch piece of paper in front of me, it was 27 miles. I think if we wouldn't have gotten the faults the first couple times, I think in the first hour, which I didn't realize was happening, I think right away, we would probably be like 35 miles in that hour. That's my guesstimate. So we'll see. So at 4, setting at 4, 40 amps, we got 22 miles. And here I'm just going to let it go on out and charge out for the rest of the night. Thanks for hanging in there. This would be a great time for you to click like and click subscribe. If you like these kind of F-150 lightning videos, there are a ton of these out there. I love watching what everybody's putting out, that are the people that are getting the trucks, and kind of the vloggers, and seeing what everybody's doing with them, and hearing some of the stories. It's really been pretty cool, and it's a fun club, I guess, at this point to be part of. So as we drive around the southern area of Myrtle Beach, Surfside Beach, Garden City Beach, Merle's Inlet down by the Marsh Walk, every time I park the truck, we get people walking up to it, asking us questions. Or we went to Coastal Grand Mall the other day in Myrtle Beach, where there are Tesla superchargers, and there are, like the last couple times we've gone, there's been probably an average of 8 Teslas plugged in and charging, and that's where we really need someone, preferably, I guess, Electrify America, to put a charge station in. But we walked into the mall a few days ago, and we came back out, there were a couple people just standing around the truck looking at it. And we've gotten quite a bit of that. What I've noticed is the truck gets noticed more kind of this time of the day when it gets towards dusk, when they can see the front light bar and the rear light bar. That's when people tend to notice it coming down the street. During the day, it just looks like a blue F-150 going down the street. No one really takes a whole lot of notice. But at night, when they can see that light bar, that's when people start kind of yelling out. And we've had them yell from the side of the street, hey, lightning, and we stop, and I hear people say, is that a lightning? And yes, and so that kind of stuff's been pretty cool. That's been fun. But anyway, I'm rambling. I tend to do that. Anyway, we'll see you on the next clip. Now here we are, we're not messing around now, he said. Changing out the wire, took out the aluminum, putting in this 3 individual pieces of copper, which he says is rated at least up to 125 degrees Celsius. So the recommendation is copper, which this is, with at least 90 degrees Celsius. So this goes up to at least 125. Copper. So we're looking for better things. We'll test it out here in a little bit. Okay, now that we got the copper put in, that is rated well above what's needed, we're going to turn this back up, trying to do this one-handed so you can see it, back up to 7. That's 6. It does kind of click in there. So there we go, we're back at 7. Right about there. I think I might have gone shade too far. There we go. So there we're at 7. So that'll put us back up at 80 amps. So the experiment continues. When we first charged on 7 at 80 amps with the aluminum wire, and we think we had a couple faults in the first hour, we got 27 miles of range. Oh, sorry, went out of focus. 27 miles of range in that first hour. Apologize for the out of focus. So now we're back on copper, rated above 125 degrees Celsius. 2 AWG, I believe it said. So now in a few minutes when we're done soaking it up to the box, we'll plug it in, charge it up for an hour, and see what we get. Stand by for action. We are plugged in and charging. So I don't know that I can do a complete test tonight because I'm at 93% already. 92 or 93. So what I would want to see is in the first hour, can I get over 30 miles of range? And I don't think I have enough space to even do that. So I think tomorrow I'm just going to have to go driving it around for a while. Maybe I'll unplug it now, drive it around for a little bit tonight, and then I'll drive it around tomorrow. Then I'll plug it in tomorrow after work, charge it up for an hour and see what we get. And then we'll have a complete video. Thanks for hanging in there this long. I really do appreciate it. Click like, click subscribe. I think I've probably said that 20 times. But anyway, hang in. We're doing good. Lightning is charging. We got a little bit of rain. We might get some lightning near the lightning.
Stop recording. How about those pop I do not have those. Red.
Well,
Red's last. Red.
It's all going in the front.
You can see.
See how much we can get in. Okay, this should be our last charging segment for this video. The copper wire is installed. We've driven this thing around extensively today, ran the battery down. Well, I shouldn't say really ran it down. It's at about 70% or something like that, I think. So now we're gonna plug it in on the copper wire that's rated up to 125 degrees Celsius and see what kind of charging range we get per hour that it's plugged in. So to recap, when we initially had the aluminum wire hooked up to this charger, Charge Station Pro, we got last week 27 miles of range for every hour that it was plugged in. And that was, I believe it had faulted a couple times during that first hour. So that wasn't a true number. So now we have the copper, we're hooked up the way we're supposed to be. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. Get it plugged in. It is currently, what time is it? 12 minutes after 8 in the PM. Myrtle Beach time. I'm gonna let it charge for 60 minutes and see what we get. I'm thinking we're gonna get about 35 miles in that first hour of range, which for charging at home off of AC power is perfectly good for me. My daily commute is probably 15 to 20 miles, depending on which hospital I go to. Could be a little bit longer on some days is quite a bit longer than that, but we've driven it so far. I've had it about 2.5 weeks. We have about almost 1,100 miles on it. I've just been having fun driving it around town in the evenings, driving it around, having fun with it. So we'll give it an hour, see how much we get. Talk to you in a second. Okay, so the aluminum wire has been removed, replaced with a copper wire, turned it back up to a setting of 7, which gives us back to the full 80 amps. We got 32 miles of range gained in that 60 minutes, the initial first 60 minutes of plugging in. So that's better than 27 miles that we had using the aluminum wire, so I'm pretty happy with that, especially for being at home when it's gonna be charging overnight. The second 60 minutes, we didn't do quite as well. We only got 26 miles of range. Also in that second 60-minute period, we had a few more of the faults where it went from the blinking blue light to occasionally having the small amber light on the right on the side of the charger. So I'm not sure what that's about. We have much thicker copper wire in there, 2 AWG, rated at up to 125 degrees Celsius. Should be plenty capable for that charger. And we still got a couple faults in the second hour, so I just don't know. I talked to the electrician that did a lot of these houses when they were first built several years ago. He's the one that put this in. And he said these houses get plenty of power for this. So what the house gets is not a limiting factor. So I'm not sure what to do with that. So if anyone else is having similar difficulty, please leave a comment below. If anybody has any suggestions, leave a comment below. But I think what I might do for now is turn it back down from 7 to 6 and just let it ride on that for a little bit and just deal with a few less miles of range for every hour charging. And just kind of deal with it there for a little bit till I get an answer. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging in, and have a great day. Okay, this is the absolute last clip for this. one more brief update. So I talked about how we went in and turned the setting down from 7 to 6 on the manual dial inside the charger. Also got the Charge Station Pro app to connect and reduce the maximum charge setting from 80 down to 60 amps there as well. And charged overnight. And look at the range it gave us. 350. I'm not typically going to charge it up to 100%. I'm going to stop it at 90. But I did charge it up to 100 last night. And it says we have 350 miles of range. Now, I'm guessing that is probably because most of the driving, turn the volume down. Most of the driving, stop, I know all the doors are open. Most of the driving we've done the past couple weeks has been pretty low speed, just driving around Myrtle Beach and Murrells Inlet and Surfside Beach and Garden City and Pawleys Island, and we haven't gone terribly fast. So I guess we've been doing very well on the miles per, turn the fan down here, miles per kilowatt hour. So it's given us up to 350 miles of estimated range. I gotta tell you, I do love this thing. So many people, as we are parked and people just walking by, come up and ask questions about it. This is the best vehicle I've ever owned. I absolutely love this thing. It's incredibly quiet. It's incredibly smooth, the ride. I saw some videos before we got it. Everyone's making YouTube videos of these things. And it seemed like there were maybe some complaints about it being, the suspension being a little too floaty. I don't think so. I think it rides fantastic. So I haven't had that problem. You can see we have some sand in here from our adventures to the beach yesterday with the surfboard. So there'll be another video on that. We went to Pawleys Island, South Carolina yesterday, which is 20 miles. I don't even think it's that far. Maybe 15 miles from where we are right now. Because the kids were taking surfing lessons, and yesterday was week 2. So we got out there. My wife went out for the first time, and she was in the ocean maybe for 5 minutes and got stung by, well, we're not sure if it's a jellyfish or if it was a Portuguese man of war. We just don't know. So separate video on that. I'll probably post that. She's in, today's day 2 of that because it happened yesterday morning, and doing a little bit better. So I just wanted to show you this too. This trip to, I reset this, well, 425 miles ago. So since that 425 miles, we've been averaging 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. We have a total of 1,200, almost 1,300 miles on the truck. And that's it. Thanks for watching.